Welcome to English 7 Days. Today, we'll learn English with a powerful story about money and success. Robert grew up with two dads. One was highly educated but struggled financially, while the other was a businessman who knew how to build wealth. Through their lessons, Robert discovered the secrets of financial success. As you follow his journey, you'll improve your English with useful words, simple grammar, and real-life phrases. Robert was a young boy, curious about the world and eager to learn. He grew up in a small town, and although he loved school, he often felt confused about money. His father, whom he called Father Poor, was a teacher with a good job, but Robert could see that they never had enough money to live the life they wanted. His father worked hard every day, yet there was always more month than money. One day, Robert was sitting with his best friend, Mike, when he heard something surprising. Mike's father, Father Rich, was talking to him about money. "Money doesn't grow on trees," said Father Rich, "but you can learn how to make it work for you." Robert was confused. He had always heard the opposite from his own father. "Why does Father Poor say something different?" Robert asked. Mike explained, "Father Rich and Father Poor are very different, Robert. My dad didn't finish school, but he understands how money works. He taught me things Father Poor never mentioned." Curious, Robert decided to learn more from Father Rich. He had a feeling that his life was about to change forever. The next day, Robert met with Mike and his Father Rich at the park. Mike's father had invited him to come along because he wanted to teach Robert a few lessons about money. "Robert," Father Rich began, "there are two ways people think about money. The first way is what I call the employee mindset. This is where you work hard for a paycheck, and you live paycheck to paycheck. Your focus is on having a good job with benefits and a secure future." He paused, letting the words sink in. "This is what your dad believes in." Robert listened carefully, thinking about his father. Father Poor always told him, "Get a good education, find a secure job, and you'll be okay." But Father Rich seemed to be saying something different. "But there's another way," continued Father Rich. "The second way is what I call the entrepreneur mindset. This is where you think about money as a tool. You make money work for you by investing in things like businesses, real estate, or other assets." He smiled, seeing Robert's confused look. "It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Is that what you do?" Robert asked. "Yes," Father Rich replied. "I don't work for money, money works for me. I create opportunities, and I invest in them to build wealth." Robert was amazed. He had never heard anything like this before. His father, Father Poor, always told him that working hard was the key to success. But now Father Rich was teaching him that there was more to life than just working for a paycheck. A few days later, Robert returned to Father Rich's house to learn more. This time, they sat in his office, surrounded by books and papers. Father Rich had a big smile on his face as he started to explain something Robert had never heard before. "Robert," he began, "today we're going to talk about two important things: assets and liabilities. If you understand these concepts, you will understand how money works." Robert nodded, eager to learn. "What are assets and liabilities?" he asked. "Good question," Father Rich said. "Let's start with assets. Assets are things that put money in your pocket. These are investments like real estate, stocks, or businesses. When you buy assets, they generate income for you. They make your money grow." Robert thought for a moment. "So, if I buy a house and rent it out, that's an asset." "Exactly," Father Rich said. When you rent a house, it brings you money every month. That's what makes it an asset. Okay, I think I understand, Robert said. But what about liabilities? Father Rich leaned back in his chair. Liabilities are the opposite. They take money out of your pocket. A car, for example, can be a liability. It costs you money every month, insurance, gas, repairs, and so on. It doesn't bring you any money, so buying a car is bad. Robert asked, confused. It's not bad, Father Rich replied. But it's not going to make you richer. If you want to build wealth, you need to focus on buying assets, not liabilities. Robert was starting to understand. He realized that Father Poor had always focused on buying things that didn't make him money, like expensive cars and a big house. But Father Rich taught him that buying assets was the key to creating financial freedom. Now, Father Rich said with a grin, you know the difference between assets and liabilities. The next step is learning how to use this knowledge to make your money work for you. Robert's mind was racing. He had a lot to think about, but he knew one thing for sure: his life was about to change. A few weeks passed, and Robert couldn't stop thinking about the lessons he learned from Father Rich. He decided it was time to take action. Robert began looking for ways to invest and build wealth, just like Father Rich had taught him. One afternoon, Robert met with Mike again. I've been thinking, Robert said. I want to start buying assets. But I'm not sure where to start. Mike smiled. That's great, Robert. My dad always says that the first step is to learn and educate yourself. You don't have to rush. The best investors take their time to learn everything they can. Robert nodded, excited but still nervous. But how do I get started? I don't have a lot of money yet. Father Rich had warned Robert that getting started might be challenging. You don't need a lot of money to start investing, he had said. The key is to think like an investor. You can start with small investments and learn as you go. Robert decided to start small. He used the money he had saved from his summer job and bought a small online course about real estate investment. He knew it wasn't much, but it was a start. Remember, Robert, Father Rich had said, it's not about how much money you have, it's about how much you know. The more you learn, the more opportunities you'll see. A few months later, Robert found a small rental property that he could afford. It wasn't much, but it was his first asset. He rented it out and began earning extra money every month. Robert couldn't believe it. For the first time, he felt like his money was working for him. Thank you, Father Rich, Robert thought as he looked at his first investment. I'm finally on my way. Months passed, and Robert's life slowly began to change. He continued learning about money, making smart investments, and building his wealth. Each lesson he learned from Father Rich stayed with him, shaping the way he saw the world and his future. One day, Robert sat down with Father Rich to reflect on how far he had come. I can't believe how much has changed, Robert said. I used to think the only way to be successful was to get a good job and work hard for a paycheck. But now I know there's so much more to it. Father Rich smiled. You've learned the most important lesson, Robert. It's not about working for money. It's about making money work for you. Robert nodded. He finally understood. The secret to success wasn't just about having a job. It was about creating opportunities, investing in assets, and learning continuously. I'm ready for the next step, Robert said with confidence. Father Rich smiled proudly. That's the spirit. Keep learning, keep growing, and always remember, Your journey to financial freedom is just beginning, and with that, Robert felt more certain than ever that his future was in his hands. The lessons from his two fathers had given him the tools he needed to build a life of success and freedom. In this video, you learn about the difference between assets and liabilities and how to make money work for you. We hope you enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos, and leave your like. May God bless you.